I took a little bit of a break, just because there was a video game I had to finish and I never had a chance to finish it. FF7 Remake. I finished the main game, but now I have to do the DLC. This one video I've actually been wanting to film for a while. It's just it took me a while to get all like the pieces together. But when TXT dropped their teaser photos for their last album, I almost passed out because, well, to be honest, the makeup is kind of basic, but it's just, I feel like you don't really see a lot of boy groups doing this kind of, these are conceptual things these days. Not that I know of. I don't normally buy TXT albums, but I went out and bought all of them. Each album has a different concept, like each photo shoot is different, but this was specifically like 완전 마음에 들었어. 그래서 it's actually not that complicated. I think it's more about the 의상 and like, you know, the accessories. I literally went out and bought a heart patch that looks exactly like that one. First, face cream. I got a new sample of that cream that I was talking about that I'm making for my own new brand. We changed the fragrance, or should I say smell? It smells so much better. It like really smells like skincare, like luxury skincare. I know fragrance, a lot of people worry about it, but surprisingly, I asked about how much fragrance actually, like when companies put fragrance into products, because the original smell of this does not smell good, like the non-fragrance version. 근데 it literally is like, we're talking like tiny percentages go into these things. So my skin is sensitive, so when there's like a horde amount of fragrance in a product, my skin will let me know, but my skin hasn't reacted to this or anything. We're making the product at a really famous, at probably one of Korea's top, like, what is it, factory? Biggest company that makes a lot of the most famous K-beauty products. Of all the products that they make, this one in particular has some of the most expensive ingredients that they use, so we're only getting the best honey, but it's still, you see that glow? Yes, work. But yeah, the fragrance is supposed to be like bergamot. So for Huening Kai's skin, obviously it's perfect. For the concept of the sheet, it's supposed to look ethereal. So of course they're gonna look like completely like perfect. I normally like to use liquid foundation, but for this one, I brought a cushion. I only use this like one time. The rest of the times I'll just like try it on the back of my hand, because when I'm bored, I swatch things on my hand. I like the way liquid foundation looks better on the skin, but this is really full coverage, and it's kind of what I want for this. I just remember whenever I use this, like the 1 or 2 times I use this, it makes the skin look very uniform. So very little, because this shit is pigmented. And I didn't, like, you saw how much I put on. There was like barely anything, but you see all this coverage. And if you're the type to put on your cushion thick, then you can get even more coverage if you feel like you need it. Oh, I forgot to say, this is the new, Clio literally releases a new cushion every fucking month, and it's a little annoying, but Clio kind of follows the trends of whatever's popular in terms of base makeup at the time, and they literally will make a cushion based on that. It's technically supposed to be matte, like that's why the case is matte, but because of the cream that I use, because of the cream, it looks more glowy. The thing is, the color is number 4 BO. Number 4 BO Ginger, and I think this is like the second to last one out of like 5 colors, I think, and it's still, the thing, Clio makes their base colors really bright. So this is like, for me, it's like on the border of like being the right tone, but like if I want to have a more like bright look to my face, yeah, I don't know. This is why I don't fuck around with Clio foundations these days, because I'm trying to look for foundations that are more, have more, in Korean, like a more chabunan, more of like a more neutrally, more calmed down sort of tone to them, rather than colors with a lot of like white in them, for my skin tone in particular. For example, I'm gonna color correct under my eyes, and I have this Sam Cover Perfection Tip Concealer. This is really, like, if you're into K-beauty, especially in the old school days, this shit was like, this was the one. Good coverage, really thin, but they're really fucking affordable. And I've had this color corrector from Innisfree for a while, but I've always like used it, I'm like, I don't like it, but then I'll try to go back to it again, but then I'm like, oh, I don't like it. And I think I know why. I think it's because it's also a color corrector, but I feel like compared to the Sem one, which I love, I feel like the color just has more white in it. But if you compare this, the Sem one, which has that more chabunhan toned down sort of vibe, while this one has clearly more white in it. And when it comes to under the eyes, I don't like the look of like, you know when people like tan, but when they tan, they put like sunglasses on, and so like around their eyes is really white. I don't like that look, where it looks too bright under the eyes, like just under here, and then you have like your regular skin tone down here, and then if you put blush, it looks even worse. And I noticed doing that makes your eyes look smaller. I noticed that if you use one that, if you kind of more even out the skin tone of your eyes to your skin tone, for me at least, it makes my eyes look way bigger. And look, y'all, when it comes to covering your under eye circles, it's mostly about correcting the actual color rather than trying to cover it. Because the thing is, depending on if you have dark circles like me where it like goes, like sinks in, or if you have dark circles that stick out, you can't really cover the shape of your eye, you can't really cover the structure, you can only really fix the color. So it's especially important for things like this, like color correction, that you go in quite thin, unless it's like your beard, which I'm about to do, which you might benefit from going a little bit thicker for the under eyes because the skin is so thin. You also want to keep her thin, the concealer. You see that? My eyes kind of just look bigger, I think. Now I'm going to use an oldie but a goodie, this 3C Salmon Peach Cover Pot Concealer. Another corrector, but it's a cream type. It's really like takake, like really thick. So what I do is actually I load up the brush. And when it comes to using brushes like this, whether it be these concealer brushes or foundation brushes, people will be like, oh, but those give me streaks. The reason is because you don't put enough product in the brush. You have to really soak the brush with the product, not the whole thing, just kind of like the first third or 2/3 of it or half of it, and like really get into the bristles. That way it soaks up the brush, and when you're applying it, you don't get really get the streaks. But this is quite hard, so I'm gonna mix a little bit with the liquid just to soften it up a little bit and make it easier to spread. You want to really mogyojo it, like really have the brush eat that shit up. I'm still like traumatized by my AT's makeup tutorial I did a long time ago. I really thought I could get away with natural coverage in that video, but my beard is high key sticking out. And that was before I was really doing hair like laser removal laser. Now that I'm doing laser at home, it grows back much thinner. But back then I really thought I was doing something. And I really need to cover this well because with Hyunin Kai, he's like a little hairless fetus. So for me, I really don't like having a beard. I know some guys that shave, but I'm like, wouldn't you just want a laser? It's like, no, I might want to grow my beard later. Who knows? Maybe I might want to as well. But right now, honey, it doesn't. I feel like it doesn't suit my image. Like it doesn't go well with like my overall existence. So yeah, as I'm getting older, like I'm 30 now, y'all. Like she's going down my neck, which I probably should be covering, but I'm too lazy. But yeah, another reason why I'm using cream on the face is because it just sticks better and lasts better, even though I'm gonna wash my face after this. The skin around the face, like here, the cheeks, the forehead, is a lot thicker than the like skin here or like around here. You can see how much difference there is. You can see like a grayness around here. I don't like that. Okay, 이제 뭐지? I think I need to take a towel and kind of blot some of the excess oil on my face. Oh, by the way, sweetie, we got new windows. Yes! Recently they did construction on all the windows in our house. Because they used to be the old, like, 옛날 fucking old ass Korean style windows. There's like a screw that you have to like twist so that it locks the door. It's so weird. And they're super thin and made out of like wood, so it's just always so loud. And our neighborhood is so loud, and you know, even with the pandemic and everything, we have all the foreigners here like screaming and yelling and drinking outside really late. The house feels more soundproof, so amazing. Probably be better with Kleenex, but I need to go buy some. If you have trouble with your foundation kind of like smudging a lot and just not lasting as long, try blotting your foundation. Oh, and by the way, I noticed that my foundation smudges way less on my mask when I don't powder, which I found really interesting. I'm gonna powder today though because it's gonna be part of the makeup look, but in general, like for day to day, the look looks very clean. Like it's not very a contoury, bronzy sort of look. But I'm gonna contour my nose a little bit. In that Everglow video, I was talking about the contour palette that made me look like I took coffee bean grounds, just smudged it on my face. It was this one. So what I found is this dark color looks much better when I just use it on my cheek here rather than down to here. When it starts going down here, that's when it looks like really muddy. But using here more like a bronzer in a way suits me much better. The lighter color is much better for my nose. Oh my god, and by the way, next week I think I'm gonna be collabing with a boy group that I've been wanting to collab with for so long. It's not Monsta X. This is another kind of like smaller group. And by small, I mean both in terms of popularity and number of members. There's only 3 members, so thank God. Not that I hate when there's a lot of members, it's that those videos take me much longer. But this boy group, I love their music so much. So I'm real freaking excited. I have a green version of that pot concealer, the 3CE one. It's literally like a green beige. And here. Honestly, my hair's gonna be down, so you really can't even see my eyebrows, but I have been liking to use Got2b to stick them up. I actually have the Anastasia Brow Freeze. The thing I like about the Got2b is 1, it's cheaper and you get more product, and 2, it dries down to a matte finish. The Brow Freeze, it gets matte, but it doesn't really hold like this does. It kind of like remains like soft, which I guess is good because it makes the brows feel more natural, but my brows are kind of stubborn, so when I try to put them up, when the product dries down for the Brow Freeze, some of the hairs like go back down. With this one, it kind of keeps all the hair just like up. So first I kind of rub some back and forth. I literally bought the Anastasia, like the thing that comes like a brow spoolie and a spatula at the end. It's like a perfect tool for this. But you can literally just go to the art supply store and just buy a cheap like little paint thing and do the same thing. Or not even that, you can just use a brow spoolie and then just use the other end to flatten it out. You literally don't even need a spatula. But yeah, I like that because it dries down matte. Then you can go in with product afterwards. Sometimes with like the more 촉촉한 brow holding products, sometimes it makes it harder to draw with like a brow product afterwards, so you either have to do it beforehand, which I don't really like either, because sometimes if you draw your brows before and then use these sort of brow freezing products, it makes that brow product you just put on more like 촉촉해 again, and so it starts erasing it. So this one, I set my brows first early in the routine, and then I'll kind of finish off the end with like powder or something. 자, 이제 eyeshadow 합시다. His eyeshadow looks super basic. It kind of just looks like 2 main colors and then like some like highlight points. I'm not gonna spend too much time on this because Hour and Friday are outside of the house right now, and I'm trying to do this before they come back. I don't want them walking in on me like with an eye patch and like some fancy ass thing. So I'm using Chungsamu eye primer. When you apply eye primer, you make sure you really get it into the, like down to the lash line even. Which again, doesn't really matter because I'm gonna wipe this shit off when I'm done anyway, but. All right, so for the main eyeshadow colors, I'm taking this Pat McGrath, this shit, and I'm gonna take these 2 colors. This one is a little bit too orange, to be honest. I think he has some more mauve-y tones. You have to remember that also for these photo shoots that they change the colors a lot sometimes, and I have to be careful because these are so pigmented. Like this isn't like K-beauty shit, you know what I mean? Because the overall mood of his makeup is very, for all their makeup, is very like smudged, like 번지는 느낌. This is a matte color, but I think I accidentally had like shimmer on this brush, so that's why there's a little bit of shimmer. And then as well as the very bottom lash line, like you want this everywhere. In fact, even up until like the inner corner here. That deep rosy burgundy shade, use that on the inner and outer. It's a very simple look, I think. Maybe a little too simple, but again, this isn't really about the makeup. Yes. And to be honest, you can kind of be messy with this. You don't have to be too precise. And also, I think a lot of it has to do with how Huening Kai's eye shape. We kind of have similar eye shapes in that, a hooded lid. This kind of extends to the bottom as well, like here. You're really emphasizing the inner and outer corners. To be honest, I should be focusing more on this eye because this eye is going to be completely covered by that eye patch, so I shouldn't be worrying too much. I'm going to take a smaller brush. It looks like they even really lined up like right into the waterline. So I'm taking the same rosy deep brown shade. I'm going to use a smaller brush to get it more concentrated, almost like an eyeliner. In certain pictures, it almost looks like he has like bits of like red in there, which is a little strange because, I don't know, they kind of like randomly put them in there. So I'm literally taking this giant ass palette for this one color. 이건가? here. There, 약간 여기. And it could just be the editing, but 몰라, 그냥 하자. I get excited by these like little random details because it gives me a chance to break away from my usual fucking makeup, because minus this little red bit, everything else is the same shit I always do. So the key is to always remind people that I'm just doing this for fun. I'm gonna put a little bit of a shimmer, because if you look at some of the other pictures, including the other members, they have like shimmer on very certain specific points. I'm gonna use one of the eyeshadows from the eyeshadow palette, one of the eyeshadow palettes that I'm working on. Yo, I'm so fucking excited for these eyeshadow palettes. But I know it's a lot harder to make eyeshadow palettes because each individual color you have to test and try and edit each one individually. You have to get the samples for each individual one that you need edited. It's just a whole nother thing rather than just doing a cream, because it's just the one product, right? You probably won't even see this in certain lighting, like especially this side you won't even see it. I'm using my pinky because I want this in very specific spots. Oh no, it's too big. You don't want like big chunky, but you want like really fine sparkles. And if you find that you place it in the wrong place, just take a spoolie, and that tends to pick up shimmer really well without erasing too much of your base. Next to 입술 하자, I had lip balm on, my favorite, Too Faced. I ran out, right? So I have a bunch of other lip balms that I used and they just don't hit the same way. So Too Faced, Pillow Lip Balm, get into it. What I need to do is take down all this color on my lips because my lips are so red. And then set the edges with some powder, because if you cover your lips with foundation and then go straight in with your lip color, the lip color will mix with your foundation and create a different color, which you don't want. This lip combo I found on Seromin's channel, the one of the creative minds behind Romand. Amazing videos with a lot of really good information, but she makes a lot of she's kind of famous for her lip swatching videos because she comes up with really amazing lip combos. When I saw the pictures, it instantly reminded me of this one specific video she had, so I'm gonna use pretty much those exact products. Start in the center and just oompa. You want this to look really smudged, and it kind of looked like it even reached a little bit of the edge of the lips. So I'm taking like a eyeshadow pencil brush. Even 여기까지. I don't normally do this, but in the pictures kind of look like that. The base color is going to kind of reshape your natural lip, because the point color is the color that you're going to see, right? And then the base color will kind of almost act like your natural lip. So, in America where they use a lip liner to get a really outlined look to kind of redefine the lip shape. But if you want to do more natural lip enhancing, I feel like this way is better because it just looks more natural. The other way, I kind of feel like when you see, you're like, oh, they overline their lips. Whatever way suits you. I'm gonna mix the two here. The tint itself is already kind of glossy, but adding the clear lip gloss will make it look even more shiny. Yes. Actually, this might not be dark enough. I think I need something more purple. I got this Lily by Red one. I don't know if it will be dark enough because the center of the lips are really deep. That looks a little better. Not exactly mask-proof lip makeup, but we'll just hope so. I'm gonna touch up the base a little bit, my cushion. Do your base, do the rest of your makeup, and then go back in a little bit one more time with your cushion. Even if you're not putting that much extra on the puff, but retouching the center kind of brightens that up a little bit. Should I powder a little bit with my face? I'm gonna take the same powder I used. Just set. And because we're using a brush and because of that cream we used earlier, I don't know why I said that so enthusiastically, you're gonna get more of a subtle glow rather than a straight up matte look. If you're doing your makeup normally, you need it to be mattified. It'd be better to use a puff because it's inserts the powder deeper into the skin. Using a brush and pressed powder kind of just takes off the extra shine on the top surface of the skin. And like I said, my hair's gonna be down anyway, but I still want to fill in my brows using this KVD taupe brow struck thing. I have this brow brush that I really like. It's the perfect shape to quickly fill in brows with powder, but it's so short. Anchi TR27, when it's in my brush holder, it gets lost in all the brushes and it's always hard to find. So I literally have to use this, you know when you have a pencil and you have to keep sharpening, but when it gets too short, it's harder to hold. This is like a holder for that, so that short pencils are easier to hold. It's a pencil extender basically. But now it makes the brush super heavy. This one I'm kind of just using just to extend my brows. And there's another thing about using brow freezing products. I want to recolor the hair, but I can't really put another like a brow coloring mascara on top because it'll just make the brow too chunky. And before I go to change my hair and put the shirt on, I will put a little bit of blush because it seems like they have a tiny bit of blush, very faint and soft, like across the top of their cheeks. So I'm using this one from Pat McGrath in Flirtatious. It looks rather like brownie nude in the pan, but it's more like a rosy pink, just like the rest of this makeup. Like super subtle. Almost a kind of like Igari makeup. 그 정도? Let me put the shirt on real quick and then fix my hair. Yo, I'm gagged. I borrowed this shirt from my friend Sui, and he literally handmade this. And I think originally it was a school uniform. 근데 되게 이쁘게 만들었어. I hate my hair today. I was supposed to film this at like 5 a.m. because that was when nobody was here. And as I was setting up, everyone came back home at 5 a.m. So I was like, oh shit. So I just went to bed. And so I have bedhead. But the lenses, you can barely see them. They're not exactly the color I would want. I would want them to be more like a really deep, smooth blue. But this is the Ice Gold 3 Con. Oh yeah, okay, so this is like the piece de resistance of this whole thing. This eye patch, literally just went on Naver and just searched like heart eye patch. And after lots of scrolling, I found a seller that sold these like, it's like a cosplay thing from Japan. So it was imported from Japan, but they have a lot of colors, but they only had red. So it's like, whatever, I'll buy it and I'll paint over it with something. But to my luck, the seller contacted me and was like, oh, we're sorry, we're sold out on red. We have pink though. I was like, you have pink? Yes, give me pink. So, I mean, the one in here kind of looks like it's made out of a better material, but because this is like straight up cheap ass plastic, this is what originally came in. And originally the strings were like this cheap like elastic band. So I was like not having it. So I bought the chain separately and I attached them on here. Actually, before I do that, let me do the earrings, because he has 6 rose gold earrings across his ear. You guys, I'm so sad because my ear is so fucking weirdly shaped, and because of the earrings in general, I can't stick them on, so I'm just gonna put one. Also, I think my lips are a little too bottom heavy. Huening Kai's upper lip is more defined, so I'm gonna conceal the bottom. That looks much better. Okay, time for the eye patch, which my lashes are really long, so it kind of feels funny having it on my eye, but we'll try. Oh, I think I got it, but it feels fucking weird. Oh my god, I should have done this before the eye patch, god damn it. In some pictures, I think I saw like at the cuticle of their nail, they kind of had like this blood stain look to them. Do you see this one falling? That literally just looks like my natural fingers. Girl, whatever. Okay, I'm gonna end the video here because I need to take these shots real quick, and then yeah, hope you enjoyed the video. Bye.